my lead foot forward. As always, I slide my rear foot along to maintain my fighting stance. Once I land my first strike, I will follow up with the combination. What is important here is how I close the distance using footwork. If I am farther away, then I can push off harder and cover more distance. But because I step with my back leg first, I do not telegraph my movement. My rear leg is hidden and I do not bounce my head. He cannot see me coming. I will demonstrate one more time. With this technique, you can cover a little distance or you can cover a lot of distance. This is another way to cover distance, but instead of stepping, I simply push off my rear foot and shoot my lead foot forward. As always, I slide my rear foot along to maintain my stance. This footwork allows you to make a very quick attack. Now I'll demonstrate how to put all the footwork techniques I've shown together into fluid movement. Leg movement, attacks, pivots, Now I do all the free movement with an opponent.
Você vai mostrando. Movimentação. Movimentação. Pivô. Pivô. Segundo pivô. E eu taco. Sai para trás e volta aí.
Now I'll show how to throw a rear round kick to your opponent's head. There are a number of ways that you can throw this kick. You can do an open movement, or you can do the kick a little more closed and tight. It's up to you. Notice how I rotate my hips and pivot on the ball of my lead foot to generate power for the kick. A little open, now closed. Open, closed. Mohashi Giri is the name of this strike. Closed and tight. Open, closed. Now I'll show how to throw a rear round kick to strike your opponent's abdomen. Again, your kick can be more open or it can be tighter and closed. Open, closed. Open, closed. A little open, closed. Open, closed. Open, closed. When my kick is wider, then I strike my target using the ball of my foot. When my kick is tighter, then I strike my opponent's ribs using my shin. When I throw the kick open, I strike my opponent's kidney using the ball of my foot. When I kick tight or less wide, I strike my opponent's ribs using my shin. It is different.
Se estou chutando fechado, não. Fechado, vou lutar aqui, ó.
I'm using my shin instead of the ball of my foot.
Diferente.
Now I show how to throw a rear round kick at your opponent's legs. Just as when you throw a round kick to your opponent's head or kidney, you have two ways to throw the kick. The first one is with your shin, and the second one is with the ball of your foot. When you kick using the ball of your foot, even though it doesn't have as much power, it can still cause just as much damage because the surface area of your weapon is smaller. Same thing. Shin, ball of your foot. 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 The nice part about kicking with your shin is you can get more reach out of your kick. When you kick with your shin, you can throw your kick upward and then come down on your opponent's leg, or you can throw it straight in. When you kick using the ball of your foot, you want to hit and then move away quickly. It is a very fast strike that has a fast recovery. Kicking with your shin is slower and takes more time to recover from. Now we'll show you Kizame Mawashi, which is a lead round kick. When training this kick, it is very important not to telegraph your movement. For example, if you lean dramatically forward as you throw the kick, your opponent will spot it coming and defend against it. The goal is to surprise your opponent with the kick by just moving your leg. With this kick, you can strike a number of different targets. You can strike your opponent's head, his stomach, his leg.
Mesma coisa.
As I've already said, it is very important not to move your body when you throw the kick.
Você está aqui. Aqui mesmo chuta. Por quê?
If you move your body, your opponent will defend against the kick. If I move when I throw the kick, my opponent defends against the kick. If I don't move my body, he doesn't see the kick and I accomplish my goal.
Ele não viu o golpe. Ele não viu o golpe. Então,
when you throw kicks, you always want to utilize your hips. You don't want to kick using the muscles in your leg. Always the hips.
Isso aqui está errado.
It is also important not to get in the habit of stepping and kicking.
Porque também eu não
It is okay to do that, to utilize a step, but you must do so consciously.
Não que eu não possa fazer. Eu posso até utilizar o step.
It has to accomplish a specific goal.
Eu saiba que eu estou fazendo. Eu estou aqui.
Here I do the kick with a step, a little
Posso
step.
fazer o step.
A lot of fighters will attempt to switch their stance to put their lead leg behind them, which allows them to throw a more powerful kick. But doing this habitually can also get you in trouble.
Mais uma vez.
If I switch my stance without thinking, my opponent can use my movement to come forward and punch me in the face. If you want to change your stance, it's best to back away from your opponent, change your stance, and then come forward again.
Trocar de base aqui, eu vou trocar com fora. Ó, perigoso. Então, por isso que não usa isso.
Kick straight.
Direto. Usa
Use your hips.
Seu quadril. Aqui. Aqui. Usa o corpo.
One more time. When I change my base while in striking range, my opponent strikes me.
Ele entra. Um pouquinho rápido. Espera aí. Pode ficar um pouquinho longe.
The proper way is to throw the kick without moving your body forward or backward. Just throw the kick and surprise your opponent. Now I will demonstrate the front kick, or maigiri. When executing this kick, you don't want to push your foot into your opponent. You want to snap your foot into your target. To accomplish this, I push off my rear leg, draw my heel toward my buttocks, and then rocket the ball of my foot into my target. Drawing your heel up to your buttocks is very important, as is using your hips to generate power. Notice how I move my hips forward with the kick instead of rotating them in a clockwise direction as I would when throwing a round kick. If you rotate your hips circularly, you will fall forward and lose all power behind your strike. You want to drive your hips forward as you kick. When you kick, hip movement is the most important thing. With the front kick, you want to lift your leg without moving your torso. You want to drive your hips forward instead of rotating them circularly. Once again, elevating your heel up to your buttocks is very important for generating power in your kick.
Assim, não assim. Aqui.
Now I'll demonstrate Kazami Margari. Kazami means front leg, and Kazami Margari means the front kick with the front leg. All the rules that apply to the rear leg front kick apply to the lead leg front kick. Again, you don't want to sink your torso backward, but rather keep your hips forward and your stomach tight. Your hips stay forward. You can sink low at this strike, or you can kick mid-range.